This is VOCM Open Line. Call 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626. The views and opinions of this program are not necessarily those of this station. The biggest conversation in Newfoundland and Labrador starts now. Here's VOCM Open Line host Patty Daly.
Well, all right, Linda Swain in for you today. Gentle listener, hope that you're able to tune in and contribute to the show. Always looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Just enjoying a little yarn with my good friend and colleague, Jerry Lynn Mackey. What a hoot. Always enjoy having a chat with you, Jerry Lynn. You're a remarkable human being. There you go. There's my sucking up for the day. Well, physicians and nurses will speak today on plans to move adult gynecology to the Janeway. The Newfoundland and Labrador Health Services and Pat Parfrey say it's all about trying to make use of beds and space because that's contributing, of course, to lengthy wait times for many people across Newfoundland and Labrador. But physicians and pediatricians in particular are concerned that the move will have a number of serious consequences. And a little report was dropped off to me and dropped off to VOCM that outlines some of the concerns there. They include compromised pediatric care, that this is a concern that the pediatricians have, threats to pediatric education and training, because that's a very specialized area, and another complicating factor, of course, is the annual Janeway Telethon. The Janeway, of course, gets great public support each year, and the nature of the changes to the hospital, could that compromise those efforts? There are questions about how that will affect donor trust, future fundraising efforts, and have legal consequences, of course. And when you're talking about the administration of healthcare services, that may not loom large, but it does. It does loom large for a lot of people who have serious concerns and questions about that. Well, the argument is that pediatric space on the fourth floor is essential to meet increased needs for complex care, mental health services, and subspecialty clinics, and the introduction of adult inpatients compromises the integrity, safety, and child-centered design of pediatric care. In addition, according to this report recently released to the media, Newfoundland and Labrador has the highest rate of medically complex children in Canada, with mental health referrals, of course, and hospitalizations due to eating disorders, self-harm, and chronic illness. When we think about pediatric care, we often think about the rare diseases and those kinds of things, but it's much more nuanced and complex than all of that. What are your thoughts? I'd like to hear what you have to say about these plans to move adult gynecology into an area within the Janeway Children's Hospital. And pediatricians and physicians and the nurses union as well, all going to be speaking on that a little later on today. So we'll keep you up to date on what they have to say as well. The Bank of Canada's interest rate decision comes down this morning, and while inflation dropped ever so slightly to 2.3% in March, that's above the target 2% rate. There are strong indications that another cut could be coming, given the global chaos and uncertainty created by Donald Trump. So if you have any thoughts on that, you're certainly welcome to give us a call. It's complicated. I do not envy the decision makers on this one. The trade war, and of course you would be forgiven if you've lost track on what has a tariff and what retaliatory tariffs are in place. It's really hard to keep track. It's almost as if we are meant to be utterly confused at all times. But it's having an impact on some prices. Groceries starting to see the effects of that. Yay. Thanks, like we weren't hit hard enough. And that's what makes Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem's job even more challenging this morning. Typically, of course, when inflation rises, you raise interest rates to cool the economy. But in this case, inflation is being triggered by a completely different and random set of circumstances. circumstances, unique circumstances. Anyway, I'm glad I'm not the one trying to figure it all out. And anybody out there who has been contributing to a pension, either through your employer or through your own means, don't go looking at the statements. It's going to freak you out. Anyway, I digress. More concerns being raised about that stretch of highway on the Trans-Canada through Grand Falls, Windsor, after another near miss caught on camera recently. We've seen, of course, numerous examples over the years in that same area where someone inevitably turns onto the wrong side of the highway, heading in the wrong direction. And if you're from Grand Falls, Windsor, you probably know how it all works. If you're not from Grand Falls, Windsor, you're paying a visit there, it could prove to be a little confusing to you. And of course, it's one of a number of areas of the Trans-Canada that pass along by, or in this case, straight through towns. There's a number of problem areas. Gander in particular, I lived in Gander for years, where you have traffic exiting from businesses, of course, and trying to merge into the highway traffic. The same is true in Whitburn, of course, and to a certain extent, Clarenville. I know speed limits are reduced on the highway in those areas, but it's a rather unique circumstance to be pulling into traffic, including, big transport trucks and the like that are passing through, and taking your chances when you're just trying to get from, point A to point B in your, usual shopping fuss, get gas here and then going off to the grocery store or whatever, and you got to exit onto the Trans-Canada in order to do that. In many communities on the mainland, for instance, where highways pass through communities or business areas, you have service roads. But I don't know of any service roads in Newfoundland and Labrador unless there's an area that I haven't visited. I haven't frequented the West Coast very often, at least not in recent years. Are there any sections of highway in Newfoundland and Labrador that you find particularly dangerous or feel uncomfortable turning onto or off of the highway? Give us a call. Let us know. Point out some of those areas for us that make you grit your teeth when you're trying to navigate around your area. Well, it's still another week or so before the federal election winds down. And Dave, is it just me, or does it feel like this election has gone on forever? Maybe it's because a day in politics these days feels like a week, or in some cases a year, particularly when you've been watching what's going on south of the border. Are you still paying attention? Has anything in this particular election campaign occurred to cause you to change your mind on how you intend to vote? Do you intend to vote at all? If you have any thoughts, you're certainly welcome to give us a call. Lots more on the go, but we're going to go straight to our callers now, and we're going to start the conversation this morning with Michael. Hello, Michael.
Good morning, Linda. How are you? If you don't mind, I think I'll take a pass on elections and tariffs and all that stuff. Is that okay?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. I have a very simple concept this morning. It's called remembering. And I think in this province, we do a very, very good job at remembering. I think if you look at the rooms and Memorial are having a couple of events, remembering, first of all, our own people who fought on July 1st back at Beaumont Hamel. So I think that's very, very, very important to remember our own people who were involved. I think you'd agree with that. Remember, it's not just one day.
Absolutely. And it's unfortunately, it's those sacrifices that were made that help us to enjoy the democracies that we enjoy today, and why we need to remain vigilant in upholding and strengthening those democracies.
Yeah, and particularly right now at this time, in terms of Christians, the Easter celebrations and the horrors. Next week we'll remember the horrors, absolute horrors of the Holocaust, right? But at the same time, we have Ukraine, Darfur, Gaza. People have forgotten about Gaza. Not an election issue. People have forgotten about it. Myanmar, Sudan. I could go on, but I don't want to. There's a big long list of the kind of things that the horrible things that are happening in our world. But I think we still have to remember, remember the people who fought. For example, Ukraine, the people who are fighting in their own land for their own freedom. I think that's very important. There are a lot of Ukrainians living here in our province. Is that correct? Right?
Oh, my goodness, yes, thousands.
Yeah. And that brings me to my point that next Monday is Easter Monday. And Easter Monday is the celebration of the Irish Rising. Now, a lot of people think the Irish Rising takes place in George Street on March 17th. The Irish Rising is a solemn event. It takes place in Colonial Building. It's for about 20, 25 years it's taken place. It's a kind of remembrance. There's no bands. There's no marches. There's no politicians, and we do remember, one of the things we do remember that is the people who died in the Newfoundland Regiment in 1916. I think that's why it started off with. And we also remember the Irish people who died at the GPO in Dublin in 1916 looking for Irish freedom, and they almost did it. They almost did it. I think we have that every year. There's a group of people. It's open to everybody, So I'm not sure if the Premier or the Prime Minister or people taking time out of their politics. I don't think so. But it's it's on Monday. It's at 12 o'clock. It's open to everybody. There's no bands. There's no marches. There's no political speeches. There'll be the reading of the proclamation. It'll take about 5 or 10 minutes. And there is a remembrance of the people who fought in 1916 for the Newfoundland Regiment. So I thought I'd let listeners know about that.
And you referenced the Easter Rising. How many people died in that?
I'm not quite sure of the number. There was a lot of people. Irish people died. There were 16 people who were executed by the British. I mean, it was almost it was a poet's rebellion. It was almost from the beginning, it was an absolute failure. But the leaders were executed, and that gave the kind of made them martyrs. And there were British people who died too, and we remember them too. I think when you do have remembrances, we have to remember everybody, or else it's not a proper remembrance. You get the some people may have difficulty with that, but I think that's important to remember. If we can't remember after 100 years, we get a problem, right?
Absolutely, and just the futility of it all, war and conflict.
That's part of it. Absolutely, the futility. You've really explained it very well for me. The futility of it all, but we still remember lots of innocent people, lots of wars. Are the innocent people, the women and children, are the ones very often who suffer the most in some of these world conflicts. That we just have to look around. So people are always welcome to come along, have a look, type of thing like that. It shouldn't take any more than 10 or 15 minutes. It's a kind of solemn kind of a thing. We don't get huge crowds because we don't do any rallying around, that kind of type of thing with beating your chest and, we're the best. I think when you hear people saying we're number one and we're the best, I think we saw that a little bit down south. People being number one and being the best is that's kind of stuff that happens in the playgrounds. You would agree with that?
And Michael, this is going to be held at Colonial Building on
the steps on Easter Monday on April 21st at about 5 to 12 noon.
Right.
5 to 12 noon.
And it's a bit
and everybody.
It's a solemn occasion, so...
It's a solemn occasion. They read out the proclamation, the kind of hopes and desires that the people had, and it's good to keep that memory alive after 110 years, type of thing like that. It's a small kind of group type of thing. And we remember all the people who fought in different wars and things like that. I think I mentioned that, particularly the Newfoundland Regiment in July 1st, 1916. I think, we can't remember them just in one day. It's important to... to integrate that in with our particular with the ceremony that the people have arranged.
Michael Boyle, Easter Monday, Colonial Building. What time?
At 5 to 12 for 12 o'clock.
I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Michael Boyle there. He's been doing that, by the way, for the last number of years and expanding this service that he's having, or a commemoration, I should say, for the Easter Rising, and expanding that to include other conflicts and wars and tragedies around the world. We're going now to Karina. Hello, Karina.
Good morning, Linda.
How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Great.
So my purpose for calling in this morning was to, share with everyone an inspirational story. It's regarding my daughter's Coastal Baby Leaf cheer team.
You're a little bit, your phone line is a little bit fuzzy. I didn't catch that. Your daughter's what?
Okay, maybe it's because I'm using my earbuds. Maybe I can just go to my phone.
Yeah.
Okay, is this a little bit better?
Oh, my goodness, what a difference. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So the purpose of my call is to, share with your listeners that Coastal Baby Leaf has a special abilities cheerleading team, and that team will be representing Canada at the 2025 Cheerleading Worlds. And it's really important, for these athletes, because a number of athletes on the team have disabilities.
Well, that's extraordinary. Tell us a little bit more about this. I'm sorry, I didn't catch the name of Coastal Baby Leafs. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, so it's Coastal Wade Elite, and the team, it's a cheerleading team. It's based in Mount Pearl, and the team has been together for almost 7 years. Started out as a recreation team and is now a competitive team. And it's the first and only team of its kind in Newfoundland and Labrador. That's
extraordinary. How was it created?
Yeah, so basically back on June 16th, 2018, a group of athletes came together for the very first time with the hopes of having a team that included athletes of all abilities.
And that's amazing in and of itself, because cheerleading is such, a lot of us have this conception that cheerleading is like, hey, yay, that kind of thing with the little pom-poms. But it is a really elite sport these days.
It's an elite sport, and Coastal Wade Elite has found a way to make it very inclusive, and it brings a lot of joy to a lot of lives. My daughter is 19 and has been involved with the team since the start, and the team is so excited to be heading to Orlando, Florida next week to represent Canada at the Cheerleading Worlds.
Well, that's amazing. So how many girls are on the team, or how many young cheerleaders are on the team?
Yeah, so it's around 20, I believe. But I also wanted to, if it's okay, just to give a shout out. We've had some amazing sponsors that have helped to get us there. Is it okay for me to mention a couple of sponsors?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay, sure. So basically, we, the trip would not be possible without some Heartbeat sponsors, Agrotech Management Incorporated, and Professional Vegetation Solutions. Also, as gold sponsors, we have Fortis, Black & McDonald, First Choice Vision Center in Grand Falls, Windsor, and Avalon Animal Hospital. There's a couple of silver sponsors, C&W Industrial Fabrication and Marine Equipment Limited, and McIntyre Homes and Renovations. And finally, our bronze sponsors, the Print Shop, City of Mount Pearl, big shout out to Mayor Dave and Council, and Knights of Columbus in Woodless Bay.
So how did your daughter get involved?
Yeah, so my daughter Julia was involved with some other adaptive programs, and we found out from another parent, Glenda, about a cheerleading team that they were hoping to form. And so her daughter Olivia and my daughter Julia were basically there and a number of other athletes were there at the very start of this whole, thing that has taken on a life of its own. We've represented Coastal Wave Elite and at local competitions and provincially, nationally, and now it's the international piece. So we're very excited for next week and to show everyone what has been accomplished and the importance of inclusion.
And she loves it, obviously.
She loves it. It brings so much joy to her life. And I do have to give a big shout out to Coastal Wave Elite and the amazing coaches. It's a couple of hours of their week that they have extraordinary friendships and, be able to show how hard they have worked and what they have accomplished.
Well, I have to say, one of my colleagues in the newsroom, Richard Duggan, you know his name, no doubt, he attended a recent exhibition of the Coastal Wave Elite performing. And when he came back, you could not slap the smile off his face. He said it was one of the best events he's ever covered.
That's so nice to hear. Yeah, it's an amazing program, and I should say as well that certainly always open to new athletes. There's not always a whole lot of opportunities for children and young people with disabilities to participate, and this is truly a very inclusive program.
And Julia, what's her last name?
Julia Crocker.
Julia Crocker. Well, congratulations to Julia Crocker and all the cheerleaders involved with the Coastal Wave Elite who are going to Florida for the international event, is it?
So it's the United Special Abilities team, and they're going to represent Canada at the 2025 Cheerleading Worlds. Amazing.
Well, Karina, good luck to all of them, and we hope to hear the news when they perform and win, I'm sure.
Thanks so much, Linda.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Your thoughts on that? We have lots of calls in the queue. I'll be with you in just a moment. We are back. We're going now to Barry. You're on the air. Hi, Barry.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm grand. I wanted to talk about Cochrane Pan. I camped in Cochrane Pan now for about 12, 14 years, and apparently there's a notice come out that they're going to be shutting the park down. There's some violations going on up there, and I mean, there is a lot of families up there that got real nice trailers and follows the rules. However, there's other people that, they're stretching the rule, and the city of St. John's, for some reason, come up and says they're going to shut down the park. Now, I'm there a long time, and I got neighbours there a long time, and there's issues there. There's no doubt there's issues there, but why take it out on all the park? Why don't you just go up and get the violators, get them to clean up their sites, or if there's anything unsafe, shut them down and leave the rest of us alone. It's an absolute beautiful park, one of the nicest parks I've ever been into. And I travel the all, and you got Cochrane Pan. There's a park right. I walks up about 4 steps, and I have a beautiful pan in the back of me. We're right across the street from Paddy's Pan. We're on the doorstep of the border, St. John's, and it's a beautiful park, and to say we're just going to shut it down because there's violations on other campsites, I think you should reconsider that and get the violations taken care of and leave the rest of us alone. My trailer's 36 feet long. I got nowhere to park it. I got nothing to tow it with. You can't get into other parks. They're all full. And
how long have you been up at Cochrane Pond?
I tell you, I went to Cochrane Pan when the provincial government took our season sites back out of Butterpop Park. I was one of the people in Butterpop Park, and they turned all the season sites, and they threw us all out basically, and I left there then and went to Cochrane Pan. So I don't know if you can remember the thing was on the go with Butterpat when they cancelled out all the season sites. And so it's 12 or 14 or 15 years. And it's an absolute gorgeous park. And it needs some work, there's no doubt. But, just take care of the violations and leave the rest of us alone, There's a lot of families there. And, we need a place to go camping, There's the tourism, they're promoting tourism, and nobody's got, trucks to tow these big trailers, and most trailers now are, really big, and, people can't afford the gas to go towing them, so you can get a season site, you leave your trailer there, and, just take care of the violators and leave the rest of us alone,
In terms of the violators, because I know there have been problems at Cochrane Pond in the past, and they raise their head every now and again. I remember somebody sending me pictures of some of these violators, if you will. That's many, many years ago. So the problem has been ongoing for a while. In terms of these violators, how come they're not abiding by the rules? Is there not a process in place whereby they, are told to shape up or ship out?
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. I know on the side of the park I'm on, there's a lot of nice trailers and expensive trailers, and people just don't have, and if that is the case, the violators, the city should walk around and say, listen, you're a problem, you got to clean up. He says safety issues. Life safety issues. Well, if there's a life safety issue, like if my property where I live still, if I got a violation and to go on my property, you can't condemn the fellow next to me or over. Oh, you don't shut the whole street down. You just takes care of the violator, and live and let live sort of thing, Anyway,
So who has jurisdiction there? Is that under the city's jurisdiction? You say they're threatening to shut down the park. Who's threatening to shut down the park?
As far as I know, the city of St. John's, and they should reconsider and just go after the violators. And now in the meantime, there's some incidents in the park, and apparently some of the people that were there are left now, but it's an absolute beautiful park. If you took the time to drive around, don't look at the violators' places. Look at the park. The landscape is absolutely gorgeous. There's no doubt it got to be fixed up a bit, but get it fixed up and let us camp. But I want the city to reconsider shutting it down. If there's a violator, if there's something wrong there, get them to fix it up or shut them down. But leave the rest of us alone.
Is that still privately owned?
I'm really not sure, Mother. I'm not sure.
Who do you pay your fee to?
Oh, it is a private family that runs it.
Yeah, okay.
And so it don't go to the government or nothing. It goes to a private family. But like you say, I go to get our campsite, and we're sitting there, we're enjoying the campsite, and we don't have no particular problem there ourselves, and. So anyway, like he says, I like for the fire department or the city to come on and say, explain why they got to shut everybody down if there's a violation, get that fixed, and like you say, and the rest of the people that I'm sure are listening, because we're all concerned, the people that don't have no issues should call in or call the mayor or call anybody and try to get them to change their mind and it's time to go camping and we got nowhere to go, and a lot of money invested in some of these trailers and that sort of stuff, and it's nice to get out of the city.
Absolutely.
And have your campfire and one thing or other.
Well, I'd like to hear from the city on this to find out what is on the go and, why this kind of measure is being taken and what it means for people who are abiding by the rules, like yourself, who just want to enjoy a little time in their, quiet space. Yep. Barry, I really appreciate you bringing this up today. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mother, thank you very much, and enjoy your summer.
Right.
If I don't get a place to go, I don't know where to do with my trailer. There's nowhere to go. You can't get in parks no more. They're all full, and maybe the tourism should invest more money into or the provincial government in the parks, or open up some cabin lots that people can afford. There's going up the highway, there's all kinds of ponds and lakes everywhere, and then make it land affordable. Because I mean, if he opens up some land and lets people buy the land, you can go in, you can put your camper there or whatever, and everyone follows the rules. You can have, we have a place to go, but who can afford to go out and pay, the prices they're asking for this land? Now open up some land and let us build cabin's kind of expensive, but if you can put some campsites around a pond or somewhere anywhere up on the highway. People got trailers and they got nowhere to go. They can't put them in, and not only have they got nowhere to go to them, you can't afford to tow the vehicles. Then you need a big truck to tow the campers and that sort of stuff. So, anyway, thanks for your time.
Barry, I appreciate your call.
All right, Mother. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, so the issues at Cochrane Pond remain. I'd like to hear from somebody in the city to find out what's on the go there. They're welcome to give us a call. We're going to take a short break. And we're back. We're going now to Mike Critch. You're on the air. Hello, Mike.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
So I just wanted to speak a little bit today about the TCH, about the highway across the island.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm not sure, how many calls you've had about this lately, but I mean, people really need to be asking their MPs and potential, political candidates and stuff what their opinion is on the divided highway across Newfoundland. I mean, we're seriously lacking and falling behind compared to, I'll say, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, or any other neighboring province. I mean, we've got some sections of Trans-Canada Highway that are twinned, in around St. John's, short section in Grand Falls, Windsor, a little bit in Corner Brook there too, towards Deer Lake. But I mean, the other areas from outside Corner Brook to Port aux Basques and the other gaps in between heading to St. John's, for anybody that's driven that stretch of highway from Port aux Basques to St. John's, you really take notice of how the highway was developed, many years ago. We had a few sections of twin highway, and then all of a sudden it stopped. So why didn't they twin the rest of it? Where's the divided highway for the rest of the portions of the island? If you take the ferry across to Nova Scotia, you see Dexter Construction, all the big companies in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. I mean, their highways are twinned, they're spaced out. It's just a beautiful highway over there. So, I mean, my comment is that we're way behind when it comes to divided highway across the island. You should be able to come off the Marine Atlantic Ferry in Port aux Basques and drive right to St. John's on divided highway. There should be no question about it. It should have been done years ago, and we're just way behind when it comes to that. Don't hear a lot of talk about it. I mean, I'm not sure if it's a hot subject or not, but people really need to be pushing those political candidates of what their opinion is on that highway and why it's not being developed and what their plan is to develop it.
100%. And, it gets raised from time to time why we don't have a divided highway. I mean, what a difference when you come off the Avalon and you reach Whitburn. I know they're extending it beyond that now, but when you reach Whitburn and all of a sudden you're back to the two-lane highway, you're like, oh, this is a different feeling. This is a different... And when the weather is poor and when the traffic is heavy and people are getting impatient, it's just a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, not only that, the Trans-Canada Highway is in terrible shape. I mean, the pavement is not too bad in most cases, but I mean, you've got a lot of rutting and a lot of water holding on the road. People are questioning why there's so many accidents and stuff like that. The highway is in terrible shape. It's not up to par, up to standard when it comes to four-lane highway. It's rutted. There's a lot of ruts in the highway, and a lot of that comes from back to the Maritime Link and the Power Line construction project in Labrador. We had a huge influx of commercial traffic, and that rutted and damaged the highway, and they're just not keeping up. They need to do better. Trans-Canada highways need to be upgraded in Newfoundland, and I mean, all that needs to change. So I mean, that's the government's fault. There's no doubt about it. They're falling behind, and they need to pick up the pace with this stuff.
Do you remember the experiment that they did a few years ago whereby they took certain stretches of the highway here on the Avalon high traffic areas of the Trans-Canada Highway, and they used different mixes of pavement to see what held up better? I don't know what the end result of all of that was. I've asked repeatedly.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I've spent a lot of time working in the construction industry over years and spent a lot of time working on asphalt. So, I mean, there is different tires and different mixes you can use and stuff like that. But, I mean, it doesn't underscore the fact, no matter what kind of testing they did, I mean, that development of that highway, it needs to be a top priority and needs to be bumped up there. So I'd be interested in what the MHAs and the MPs and everybody has to say on what their plan is going forward.
Mike, excellent topic. I really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye-bye. Your thoughts on what Mike's had to say about the divided highway and why we don't have one right across the province? I would suggest to you it has to do with money. But if you have any thoughts, you're certainly welcome to give us a call. We're going to go now to Conway Keynes. Hello, Conway.
Hello.
How are you this morning?
Oh, pretty good. Long time no chat.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Anyway, I phoned in today, and I guess it's an ongoing issue with third-party contracts. And, well, this one has got to do with our halibut here in 4R and 3PN.
All right, for the benefit of our listeners now, what do you mean by a third-party contract?
Well, a third-party contract is when you have a contract, say, me and the federal government has a contract for my fishing license. Okay, that's contract. And to put somebody else in the middle of a contract, it's called a third party, because this is another group that's going to be in the middle of, say, mine and DFO's contract.
You mean like a buyer or a processor?
How about a union?
Okay.
Okay, so right now, we here in 4R and 3PN are the only group of fishermen who has to basically buy our halibut from the union through a third party. Now, I have to fill out a paper, and it's wrote right on this paper that it's a third party. Now, I've been talking or trying to talk to DFO. She will not return my texts, my emails, or my phone calls. And I'm asking, and the question I keep asking her is, do I have a valid groundfish license? And if I do, if I don't sign into this third-party contract, will I get my halibut to fish? Because the halibut is supposed to be attached to your groundfish license. And like I said, we're the only place in all Atlantic Canada that's under this, what they're calling a halibut sustainability program, which is basically a fraud program because there's lots of halibut. And they just got us putting under it because the more third-party contracts they can get us into, the less power the fishermen got to fight back, because now we're being spread thin by all these different contracts we got to go through, so you got no real say about anything.
So how was this halibut sustainability program developed? Was it developed through DFO? Was it developed through the union?
Well, this come out when Gil Shea took all the halibut and spread it out between 5 provinces and give out 8 shares. And then it got turned into a social program because, well, people that wasn't fishing halibut, they turned around and give everybody halibut, and then it's come out with saying that you had to have $5,000 to be able to fish the halibut in sales from cod and all that. Well, over here we got no cod fishery anymore, so like all this is gone to the wayside. But the problem is forcing people into a third-party contract to get access to fish that belongs to them.
So this is in the Gulf?
Yes, this is in 4R and 3PN. It's put in place. Nowhere else in Atlantic Canada.
So was this put in place to ensure that Newfoundland harvesters had access to halibut? Because I know there was that big battle between Newfoundland and Quebec, for instance, in the Gulf over quotas.
There's always a battle in Newfoundland and Quebec over quota because, well, Newfoundland haven't got the politicians that Quebec got. I mean, look at the seats they got. But the problem is, and still is that there's nobody should have the right to get between my federal license and my contract with DFO. Like, there's no right for anybody to be in a third-party contract for anything with DFO. I mean,
and what's
DFO is going to be managing this.
And what's the union's response to all of this?
The union wants money. Money. I paid for my federal license, and now I got to pay the union another $238 in order to get my halibut.
And of course, halibut is a very lucrative species if you have a license.
Yes. But the problem is like I said, we are the only one in Atlantic Canada that's got this false pretense of halibut sustainability. This is a false pretense. We in 4R and 3PN are not responsible to sustain a halibut fishery for every other province. We want the same treatment. I want to buy my federal license, and I want fair access, the same thing as every other province and every other area around Newfoundland that fishes halibut.
So you see this as a grab?
This is a money grab. Nothing no more, and someone to put their thumb down on top of the license holders and say, listen, if you don't do this, you can't have yours. And you better go through them. And this, like I said, this is another third-party program. And it's illegal to force somebody into a third-party contract. That is why DFO will not return my phone calls, return my texts, return my emails to tell me, yes, you have to sign this paper and send it to the union in order to get your fish, because then they will be liable for telling me that I'm being forced into a third-party program.
Conway Keynes, I'm glad you raised this morning. We'd like to hear from the union or a government member on this issue, or other harvesters as well. Appreciate your time.
No, thank you for your time too, Linda.
All right. Bye-bye. Your thoughts on that? Give us a call. We're up to a break. We're back. We're going now to the member for Bonavista, Mr. Craig Party. Hello.
Good morning, Linda.
How are you this morning?
I am good. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for taking my call.
Yes, no trouble.
I just wanted to call in to highlight a concern of the residents in the district of Bonavista that are served by Bonavista Hospital. And a little history would be, Linda, in 2023, we know we weren't alone in having diversions from Bonavista, and we had a lot in 2023, and again, as many did. In 2024, we had much less. I think we were down to maybe 30-something hours. It was a good year. In 2025, we've greatly exceeded what the amount of diversions and closures at the emergency room than what 2024 had. The concern with the population is that if we had an emergency case that needed attention and they go to the hospital with the doors locked in the emergency room, the next closest is Clarenville, which is an hour and 40 minutes away. Depending on the emergent condition that you would have, one would know that that's a long time to hope that you're going to be able to successfully make that trip to Clarenville. Now, the town of Bonavista, the council has been working diligently. I know that the town of Trinity Bay North, there's a rally line group which were on the side of the road adjacent to the hospital there on Saturday, just expressing their concern and their desire that the emergency room would not be locked. And what we're asking for is that if we didn't have the physician or the nurse practitioner for the emergency room to operate, then we could have a pivot to a virtual link, which appears to be quite prominent and prevalent in central Newfoundland, in order to fill that gap. And most often, quite often, it's a short gap. So we wouldn't be locking the doors. At least we would have the doors open with that link. And if I may, just to highlight one situation that occurred on Saturday with the doors locked. Two gentlemen, two residents from Bonavista, with their chainsaw cutting wood, and an accident occurred where one of them had a severe cut on their hand. They immediately went to the emergency doors, and they were locked, which is the protocol.
What a feeling, though. What a feeling that must be. You suffer an emergency like that, you're bleeding, you're panicking, no doubt, your heart is racing, and you go to the emergency room to have it seen to. You're not thinking, could it be on diversion?
No.
You're thinking, I need help. And going and the doors are locked? What a feeling that must be.
And Linda, here's what happened. The two gentlemen, in their panic, went around to the outpatient entrance and got access to the hospital. Everyone in Bonavista is proud of the healthcare professionals that we've got working in our facilities. There is no doubt about that. But they're just following the protocol and locking the door. He got access inside, got attention by the health professionals that were there. They packaged, they wrapped his wound, they called an ambulance, and they transported him to Clarenville for emergency surgery. We're pleased it worked out for that gentleman, but it may not have worked out for that gentleman if he didn't get access to the health professionals. And they had their limitations. You're not going to do surgery in Bonavista, but at least you can triage and treat and prepare him for a greater chance of a safe journey up the peninsula. So this is a situation that we're desiring. I know that if we track data and look at some facilities in central Newfoundland, you'll find that they readily got the virtual link when it's needed. We in eastern rural just need to make sure that we've got that ability to pivot to virtual in the event that it occurs that a doctor or nurse practitioner isn't there to operate the emergency room.
Craig Party, I'm afraid we're up to news time now.
Okay.
I do appreciate your call. I heard you tell that story and the story of the woman with the ruptured gallbladder in debates yesterday. Very compelling arguments that you're making there. I'd love to hear from NLHS to see what they have to say. Really appreciate your call this morning.
Linda, thanks so much.
Alrighty.
All the best.
Same
Bye
to you.
now.
Bye-bye. We're up to news time with Sarah Strickland. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. It's been a really busy, rollicking morning so far this morning. We do have some lines open. I know people have been trying to get through. Now is your chance to give us a call. And we're back on VOCM Open Line. We're going to start the show this hour with Sandy King of the Vera Perlin Society, and she is on line one. Hello, Sandy.
Good morning, Linda. How are you?
Good. I'm going to put you on hold if you don't mind, Sandy, because you've been on hold for a little while and sometimes the phone goes a little wonky. So I do have an update on what Barry raised off the top of the show today, and that was regarding Cochrane Pond Park. He indicated that they've been presented with an order to shut the park down because of what they call life safety risks. Well, the City of St. John's has just issued a release on that, and I'll share that with you now while we get Sandy back back on the line. The City of St. John's has issued an order to vacate Cochrane Pond Park due to ongoing and serious life safety concerns that pose a threat to residents, visitors, and the surrounding environment. Now, this has been an issue that's been raised repeatedly over the years related to Cochrane Pond Park, dating back years. I can remember this coming up numerous times. Cochrane Pond Park, according to the City of St. John's, is provincially owned and has been licensed to a private operator since 2023, following a long-term lease in place since 1996. The park has approximately 184 campsites, a main office building, and a cabin. The city received complaints, and after multiple inspections, it has identified numerous deficiencies. The site owner was provided an opportunity to correct those deficiencies, but as of April the 8th of 2025, the concerns have not been satisfactorily addressed. The risk of fire remains critical. 2 fires have already occurred in December of 2024 and in January of 2025. As a result, the city issued an order to vacate on April 15th, requiring all occupants to leave within 48 hours. Now, Barry said he has a 32-foot trailer. He doesn't know where he's going to end up taking that. The city recognizes this order may affect individuals currently living on site. While the city is sympathetic to the challenges the closure may cause, this park is not intended to be used as a permanent housing, and current conditions in the park pose immediately and serious safety risks. And Councillor Sandy Hickman will speak to that issue at City Hall today at 12:30. So there is the city's response to that. I'd like to hear from other either liviers or campers at Cochrane Pond Park. They're welcome to give me a call. We're going to reestablish our contact now with Sandy. Hi, Sandy.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good morning to all your listeners.
Yes.
It's not a bad day. We don't know what that bright thing in the sky was, but we'll take it.
Yeah, that brief, whatever that was. Yes. Boy, I don't know what it is. Spring really seems to be dragging out slowly, doesn't it?
I know. And listen, the good people of Newfoundland and Labrador certainly do deserve a nice spring and a nice hot summer.
For sure. Now, you're trying to build up a little bit of positivity here.
I am. Linda, I'm calling out today because we are into the very last day or day and a half of our fundraiser. It's called Groceries, Gas, and Cash Stash. We have the grand prize still remaining of $10,000, and tickets are only $10 each. The last chance to buy tickets is at 12 o'clock tomorrow night, so we're hoping people will call in or go online and purchase a ticket. And all the proceeds go into helping people that live in our communities that have intellectual disabilities. So we service as many people as we possibly can in St. John's and Grady areas. We even service people outside of St. John's, right across Newfoundland. We're employment division. But we're hoping people will come on and buy a $10 ticket and help us make this fundraiser a huge success. So they can call in, and we'll take your call here at the office. Our number here is 709-739-6017, or you can go online, visit us at veraplannsociety.ca.
You had me at groceries, gas, and cash. So what is the prize?
Well, the prize was an early bird, $1,500, thanks to our friends at Piper's and Sobeys. So that has long gone. But we still have $10,000 to give away. Listen, we can write that name on the check and send it to anyone in Newfoundland, Labrador. So anyone out there who's listened to me this morning, please give us a call, and you might be the lucky winner. We might be putting your name on that $10,000 check.
Sandy, you've done this before.
I have done it a little bit before, and I get really nervous talking to yourself or Patty. But listen, I do enjoy working with people in the community, and I enjoy helping people. And I just wish everybody will come on and support our fundraiser. And like I said, you can visit us at veraplannsociety.ca or give us a call at 739-6017. $10,000, Linda. That's a lot of money this day and age.
Jumpins, I'm telling you. There's no tariffs on that, is there?
My gosh, no tariffs. Complete $10,000 cash, cold hard cash in your pocket. But we need a winner. We're giving that money away on May the 2nd.
May the 2nd is your draw date.
Is our draw date.
And your deadline for tickets is?
12 o'clock tomorrow night.
Okay, so be there or be square. Get your tickets now. 709-739-6017. And if for no other reason, to support the fantastic work that Vera Perlin does in the community, anyone who has ever had any association with Vera Perlin knows what you guys do. It's amazing.
I appreciate the kind words. Thank you, Lynn. And if you're out there listening to us, please give us a call. $10 a ticket on $10,000.
Sandy, you should, get a job in broadcasting. You're doing a fantastic job.
Well, you never know. You never know, Linda. If yourself or Patty are ever sick, give me a call. I might be able to pop over to the station for a few hours. You're only across the way on Kemont Road, and we're located here on O'Leary Avenue.
Well, consider me threatened.
Linda, it was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope your listeners have a fantastic Easter.
Fantastic, Sandy. All the best. Good luck with it.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we hope to speak with you. And we're back, and Paul Robertson has been waiting on the line for a long period of time. Paul, thanks for your patience.
My pleasure. I'm a grumpy old man. I've been retired for some time. I listen to talk radio on AM, and when somebody told me about a radio station with the call letters of Voice of the Common Man, I thought, I have got to listen in on this.
Where are you listening from?
I am calling from Ontario, of all places.
What? Get out of here.
Cambridge, Ontario, the center of the universe, in my opinion. Anyways.
Well, I'll forgive you that. But that whole moniker VOCM, of course, that predates Confederation, because we had our own call letters prior to Confederation with Canada, and so we were allowed to keep those, any radio station that happened to be in operation at the time during as part of the Terms of Union. The moniker Voice of the Common Man isn't really official. And it's certainly not one that we ever really endorsed, except that we did have a new an announcer here many, many years ago who came up here from the United States and sort of gave it that name. But it sticks with people for some reason, but it was never officially endorsed, I don't think.
It does. But, when I heard about it, I had to call. And, right now, we're in the middle of some sort of an election or something, a federal election.
Yeah,
where
something's
we're
going
looking
on.
to select a new government of Canada. And then, I have some concerns. I look at the polls, and I just don't understand. 24 days ago, this Mark Carney fella opened his first campaign stop, and of all places, the St. John's Convention Center. And the first thing that he did was ordered the police to lock the doors and keep the fishermen out because he didn't want to deal with them. I see the Atlantic provinces, amongst other areas, the polls are saying they're all going liberal. I can't understand how somebody could support a prime minister that locks out the fishermen in Newfoundland. And then he turns around and, being a green politician, he's going to keep all our oil and gas in the ground. No pipelines for Canada, no exporting our gas and oil to other countries. He's going to keep it in the ground. He's going to shut down the Alberta oil sands. He's going to shut down drilling and everything all across Canada. Okay?
So I'll mark you down as doubtful.
Pardon me?
I'll mark you down as doubtful.
Yeah, and then, back a little while ago, I was at the Toronto Sportsman Show, and I picked up some brochures. One of the things I was planning on doing was a trip to Newfoundland this fall to go moose hunting, because here in Ontario, the odds of me ever getting another moose tag in my lifetime are pretty slim. So I thought they had some great opportunities to go hunting in Newfoundland. But now I'm wondering if, come the fall, will I even have a gun left to hunt? so far, the government under Justin Trudeau started seizing all our firearms. They keep saying, "Oh, don't worry, there'll always be hunting rifles." So you lose one gun, you go and you get another gun. You lose that gun, and it's locked up in the safe now.
I'm not following you, though, on the whole notion of seizing your guns. I'm not getting that.
The Liberal policy is that they are going to take every single firearm from legal, law-abiding gun owners. They don't seem to be too concerned about taking firearms from the criminals, at least not in here in Ontario, where gun crime is just rampant. But it's all illegal guns smuggled in from the States.
Yeah, but firearms aren't part of that. For hunting purposes, if you have a proper license for it.
I have all the licenses. I've taken all the courses, everything. I am a legal firearms owner, and yet the Liberal government is attacking me, while the criminals, it's a catch and release thing.
Have you had any firearms taken from you?
They're locked away in the safe because I cannot take them out of the house pending a so-called buyback. I don't know how the government can claim that they're buying back my guns. I never got them from them. It's a seizure of our firearms. Well, they're going to say, well, we're going to give you a token amount.
So you can't go out hunting?
Right now, 3 of my firearms are locked up in the safe because the federal government, the Liberal government, decided that I couldn't be responsible enough to own these firearms.
So what kind of firearms are they? Are they like the assault rifles or something?
They're sporting firearms. Now, let me tell you, I'm coming up fast on 70 years old. I used to go to what they called a 3-gun competition. And it was a rifle, shotgun, and handgun. And it was an active thing. You moved around, you shot targets. These are clay targets, or paper targets, they're bowling pins, or metal plates. This is what we were shooting at. And one of the favorite platforms for a rifle was the AR rifle. Now, people think that AR stands for assault rifle. It does not. It's Armalite Rifle. It was the original company that designed the firearm. But the Liberals are describing this as a military-style assault weapon. It is a tool. It is nothing more. So
what do you use it for?
I used it in competitions.
For target
target shooting competitions.
Yeah.
And you know who was shooting with me? I had police officers, I had first responders, I had paramedics shooting with me, I had business owners, all law-abiding citizens. But we are the ones that are under attack by the Liberal government. So they've slowly been taking away more and more firearms. The Liberals have made it very clear that if they are reelected, they are going to clean out all firearms. If I want to go moose hunting in Newfoundland come this fall, I'm going to have to bring along a sharp stick because that's the only thing. So Carney is going to sell out the fisheries. He's already said no more gas and oil is coming out of the ground. He's going to destroy your tourism when, I'll tell you, an outfitters to go moose hunting in Newfoundland is not cheap. And for me and my son to go up there and go moose hunting, it is a heck of a lot of money. You are going to lose that money because we are not going to have the firearms to be able to go hunting. So that's going to destroy your tourism for that. Also, with this whole thing going on with the U.S., you're going to see American hunters that are going to be canceling their trips to Newfoundland because they don't know for sure whether or not the Canadian government is going to seize their firearms at the border as well. So I don't understand how especially Newfoundland, how they could possibly support a Liberal government when, like I say, his very first campaign stop, he locked out the fishermen. That's the kind of respect you're going to get from the Liberals. Absolutely nothing for Newfoundland or the East Coast. He's going to concentrate all his goodies in Quebec, probably Ontario as well. But I'll tell you, they say as a boomer, I have to vote for the Liberals. They've got this idea that anybody over a certain age has to vote Liberal. I have never voted Liberal in my life. All my friends around me are, of course, around my age as well. Not one of them is going to be voting Liberal. They are going to be voting Conservative. They're going to be voting for somebody who is going to respect Canadians, not somebody who's going to talk down to them. I often wonder, if Mark Carney loses, is he going to pull a Michael Ignatieff and run back home to Europe? Just like Ignatieff went back to Boston.
All right, Paul, we're going to leave it there because I have another election call that I want to get on before the break in another minute or so. But I really appreciate your call this morning, Paul. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you taking my call. And just remember, people, a Conservative government will be there for you. A Liberal government is there for their own pockets.
Enjoy your time in Kitchener, Ontario. Thanks very much, Paul.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. We are going to go now to Justin Brake. Hello, Justin.
Hi, Linda. How you doing?
Oh, good, Justin. Unfortunately, we've got that digital thing going on. We're going to get back to you right after the break. Sorry about that. I know you want to talk to us a little bit about your debate that you're hosting. We're going to take a short break and come right back and speak to you about that. We're back. We're going now to Justin Brake with The Independent. Hello, Justin.
Hi, Linda. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I sound normal now?
You do.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks for taking my call. Just really quickly, though, I want to respond. I heard your last caller, and the point that he made, echoed the claim that Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative leader, made when he was here a few weeks ago, that the Liberals want to take your hunting rifles. And I just want to fact check quickly that that's absolutely not true. What the Liberal government has done is, over the last few years, they've banned more than 2,500 varieties of what they call assault-style firearms, basically semi-automatic weapons that can sustain rapid fire. And according to the federal government, there are some 19,000, I'm reading from a CBC News story that just came out, 19,000 unique makes and models of non-restricted firearms that are still available for hunting or sport shooting.
Yeah, so that won't affect moose hunters.
No, but I'm afraid that a lot of people in the province are hearing that and thinking that they're not going to be able to hunt anymore. It's basically assault-style weapons, like, the kinds you see in movies and stuff, which are absolutely not necessary to shoot and kill a moose or a bear or a caribou. And so, I hear it in my community too. I hear a lot of people talking about that, and it just needs to be made clear, I think, that nobody's hunting guns are being taken away. There's still many thousands of guns, types of guns available, and it's just that specific type of gun. So, anyways, I just thought that should be clarified.
And I'm glad you did so, Justin. So, but that's not the reason why you called. You have a debate.
No, I called because the Independent is hosting a federal election candidates debate tonight in St. John's for the riding of St. John's East. And we did one the other night in Corner Brook for Long Range Mountains, and it went really well. We're doing it again tonight, and we have 3 out of the 5 candidates coming. Otis Crandall from the Green Party, Mary Shortall from the NDP, and Sam Crete from the Communist Party. The Liberal and Conservative candidates declined the invitation, as they did the other night in Corner Brook. But everybody who attended, including the candidates who were there the other night, said that they really enjoyed the conversation, because it was more of a conversation than a debate. Absolutely not the kind of power politics type debates that often have attacks and stuff. We were all seated kind of in a semicircle, and they had had great conversations and really good points were raised by all three parties. So,
but does it make it more difficult? Because I mean, really, we want to hear what the people who have a potential to, lead the government have to say, and challenge them on some of their claims, just like you just did with the previous caller. So, does it make it more difficult when some of the so-called front runners aren't involved?
Well, that's a really good point, and I think that I think everybody would agree, no matter what your politics are, that debates are a really important part of our democracy, because before we elect people, we want to hear from them, and not only hear the talking points that they say when they do quick, interviews with the media, but the ability to be more accountable by being live on TV or radio in front of an audience, and we're going to have audience questions too. So to your question, does it make it more difficult? Well, it doesn't make it more difficult to organize a debate and hold one, but it does make it more difficult for voters to be able to get what they need, the information that they need from the candidates and parties who are declining invitations to debates. So I mulled it over when we, first, learned that we weren't going to have the main two parties, and I said, you know what? Let's do it anyway. This is a really important practice in civic engagement, in democratic engagement. And what the result was, even if you're not going to vote for one of the minority parties or an independent candidate, what the result was a really fruitful conversation that I think still benefits voters to hear what everybody who's running has to say about issues. It may influence your thoughts on a particular policy or issue. So I'm excited about tonight's debate, and I hope that the more we do these kinds of things, we got a provincial election coming up in the near future, so we'll probably try to do a few more debates then, and hopefully we can just create an environment where politicians and political candidates don't feel like they can safely decline debate invitations. And by safely, I mean, I assume that, part of the deliberations on their part or their campaign team's part is whether being in a debate could hurt or help them. And so when politicians often refuse to debate, it's often a calculation of, do I have anything to win or do I have anything to lose? And and of course, the other three candidates can only win by, in terms of getting support and getting the word out there by participating and being accountable to the public.
Why St. John's East? I mean, we know that's one of the more hotly contested seats in Newfoundland and Labrador. Why specifically St. John's East and the West Coast? Is it still called Long Range Mountains?
It is, yeah, still Long Range Mountains. The reason we chose St. John's East, well, we have one of our reporters here in St. John's, Yumna Iftikhar, who will be moderating the debate, and I'll be there as well as a host. St. John's East is one of the more hotly contested seats, and it also has 5 different parties running, and so it's an opportunity to get even more diverse perspectives. There certainly aren't Communist Party members running in any other riding in our province, and not many, I don't think, in the Atlantic region. And the Greens also don't have a lot of seats or candidates, I don't think, in our province. So, whether or not you agree with their policies or plan on voting for them, it's a good opportunity for us to have a conversation that's going to be a lot more diverse and well-rounded, I think, than sort of listening to the red versus the blue kind of discourse that dominates a lot of debates, and will probably dominate the leadership debates tonight and tomorrow night as well.
When and where?
The Signal Hill campus of Memorial University in the Emera Innovation Exchange room, the big room there. So it's from 7 to 9. We're kind of advertising doors at 7. The debate's going to start at 7:30 sharp, so we want to have everybody in place then. Yumna has 6 or 7 different topics from which she'll be asking questions to the candidates, and then if we have a little bit of time, which we did at the Corner Brook debate, we hope to get in several audience questions as well.
All right. Appreciate your call this morning. Justin, thanks so much.
Oh, I should say, Linda, sorry. I should say, too, for people who can't attend in person, we are going to be live streaming it on the Independent's YouTube channel. So if people want to get more details or information on that, just go to theindependent.ca and click on events there, and you'll see how to get to our YouTube channel.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks,
All right.
Linda. Take care.
Bye-bye. We're going to go now to Frank. You're on the air. Hi, Frank.
Good morning.
Yeah, I could already. Okay, sorry, Frank. That's you're experiencing that issue again. Anyone who's been waiting on the line for a long time will often encounter that kind of thing. We'll try and get through the calls a little bit quicker. We're going to go down to Vic. You're on the air. Hi, Vic.
Oh, good morning, Lisa.
Linda.
Is it Lisa? I'm sorry.
No, Linda. Linda Swain.
Okay. Good morning to your listening audience. I wish to thank Memorial University Senate for reinstating the ode to Newfoundland during the convocation coming up. I think they made a wise decision there, and I certainly appreciate it. Also, from what I can see of the provincial budget, the money I think that was allocated to University, Memorial University, for its maintenance, I understand is inadequate. So we need, obviously, if anybody listening, that we certainly need more money, more people donating to university, I guess, to help them financially, for other reasons as well. And the other thing is, I'm sort of wondering, it's a very costly, I guess, venture to do the maintenance in there, which obviously hasn't been done properly over the years or neglected. I think we need the university engineering, probably with the college with North Atlantic. Couldn't they get together and sort of form a committee or a group and use our apprentices in the different trades to help, probably maybe to defray the costs in the repairs of those buildings at Mon, and maybe from that committee they would certainly and probably develop more expertise in terms of maintenance in those buildings. I understand, I guess you need a lot of skills to do the repairs in those buildings. That's one point. The other point I'd like to make is we can see now from the United States, I guess tariffs are being imposed on Canada. This is going to affect Newfoundland, of course, in a big way, as we know. So I think it's time for us to get together now as a province and look after our own affairs. How can we become independent again, like we did? I remember when I was a kid, we were independent, and we were independent in terms of we had a lot of farms in Newfoundland. We were a lot of things that we were providing at that time. We're not providing anymore. So I think also we should extend the Grenfell College in Corner Brook. That should become a college in its own right. And of course, could we not sort of put a agricultural college there in Corner Brook, as well as a veterinarian college, and promote farming here in Newfoundland? I know they're trying to promote it, but I don't think it's done quite enough. The other thing I heard yesterday on the news, I think the crab fishery right now is open recently, but I understand the buyers now cannot take. I think they were advised not to give them any more crab because they couldn't. The processing capacity wasn't adequate enough to handle the crab that they were getting. Had to discontinue taking them for a few days. So there's something wrong here. It can't be. We need to provide more processing, obviously, and probably why can't we have more fish plants in Newfoundland, and also. Why can't we, probably also look at other species now? Let's get a license to other species. The other thing is, We have other things too. Agriculture, I mentioned, also mining, and then of course in forestry. We could develop more things there. I mean, we need more and more. We get more independent here in Newfoundland. So that's my spiel for today, and I thank you for taking my call. And again, I thank the Senate for bringing this, returning again or reinstating the oath to Newfoundland. And the other point I'd like to bring in before I go, I'm suffering terribly now with shingles. I've had shingles now just about a month.
Oh,
so
terrible!
And I regret I didn't get the vaccine years ago. And if anybody that they can think about it, but I think if you could get the vaccine, it would be a wonderful. I think you would. From my experience now, I wouldn't wish shingles on anybody, and they're very, very, very painful. I mean, it's a continuous pain. I've had continuous pain now in just about a month.
Oh, jumpins! And I would imagine you're not eligible for the vaccine.
Well, it's too late now.
Yeah.
Once you get it, you can't get the vaccine, and you only get the vaccine then a year later. I can only get the vaccine next year. I can't get it now because I have the shingles now. The other point, I think I heard the Minister of Health, mentioned, a few weeks ago, that they were providing the vaccine for the shingles to seniors. I thought he said 69 and 70. Well, what about the other ages?
Well, exactly.
Say to 100. Okay.
Yeah. So would you qualify under that criteria?
Pardon me?
Would you qualify for the a vaccine under that criteria if you didn't already have shingles?
No, I never had the vaccine. That was the problem. Now, my wife had a vaccine in 2014. I didn't want to get it then because I don't like needles, and I was busy traveling and working. Now I'm not traveling or working, but like I say, had I known they were so painful. Now I've had a lot of pain in my lifetime. I have kidney stones all my life, but I think this is worse than kidney stones.
Really? Wow.
And more painful than kidney stones.
Well, Vic,
certainly, but now of course my insurance covers the vaccine right now. When I do get it next year, but I think it costs probably $190, I believe. If anybody don't have an insurance or don't qualify, I don't know what the qualifications are in terms of a senior. But like I say, I'm covered for my medications and everything because I have an insurance, insurance that covers my medical, etc., and what's required there. But this, is very, very painful, and it's also very some cases, I guess. If you're a senior like myself, it could be very dangerous. But other than that, that's all I can say.
Well, Vic, I hope you get over it soon. I'm so sorry to hear you that you're suffering like that. But it's a warning to others that the shingles vaccine is something that should be seriously considered. And the fact that government is providing free shingles vaccines to a small group of people, a lot of people have questioned whether or not that should be expanded. I really appreciate your call this morning. Thank you.
And I thank you. Bye now.
All right. Bye-bye. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. And we're back on VOCM Open Line. Linda Swain in for Patty Daly. We're going to go now to Frank. You're on the air. Hi, Frank.
Good morning, Linda. How's your morning?
Great. How's your puppy?
Oh, you can hear him. Well, he's pretty excited about something.
What brings you to us this morning?
Sure. Well, not politics. I'm not going there this morning. Thank you. I want to make an announcement that in our community here at the Salvation Army in Triton, a number of churches have come together for a musical Easter drama on Thursday and Friday night at 7:30. So just want to put the word out for anyone who might be interested, and it will be a wonderful reflection on the life and death of Jesus.
So that's being hosted by the three denominations. Which one's the Salvation Army?
That's right. It's being hosted at the Salvation Army Church, but the Salvation Army and the Pentecostal churches here in the area.
I see. Okay, and so it is taking place when and where? What time?
Sure. It is Thursday.
Yep.
And Friday at 7:30.
Friday at 7:30, and so you're going to have people, I guess, acting out the Easter story.
That's right. Yeah, we have about 40, maybe 40 plus cast.
Is that right? As big as that?
That's right.
And are you part of the ensemble?
I am the director.
Ah, you're giving all the over there. You're giving all the cues.
That's right. Yeah, it is a fantastic presentation of the last week of the life of Jesus.
And how long did it take you to put this together?
Oh, we've been practicing. We started, I think, in February.
Wow! And
yeah, that's sure. So it's been a great commitment on the part of the cast.
You know, so have you done this kind of thing before? Is this new?
Yeah, well, we did it last year, and which meant that really helped. But we've added a few different items in for this year, so it's almost like expanding a little bit. But it went great last year, so we decided to do it again with a few added features.
And is it just a plain sort of a drama, or is there a little bit of Jesus Christ Superstar singing and performing in it as well?
Well, it is a musical drama, so a lot of music and of course the characters. It's based because it's called Bow the Knee. So much of it's based on the centurion who had observed Jesus on the cross and finally came to acknowledge that Jesus was the Son of God. So that's the theme where the theme comes from is Bow the Knee.
Well, Frank, I really appreciate your time this morning to tell us about it. Your puppy seems to be satisfied with it now.
That's right.
So that's this Thursday and Friday at 7:30 at the Salvation Army in Triton.
That's exactly it. I really appreciate your time and wish you and your listeners a very happy Easter.
Well, same to you. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you so much.
All righty.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's the Salvation Army Church in Triton, Thursday and Friday at 7:30. A little bit of a musical production and a cast of dozens. 40 people, imagine. We are up to the news break now with Sarah Strickland to give you all the latest news. When we come back, we hope to hear from you.
You're listening to a rebroadcast of VOCM Open Line. Have your say by calling 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626 and listen live weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
We are back. We're going to start this hour of the show, final hour of the show, with Mac. You're on the air. Hello, Mac.
Good morning, Linda.
How are you this morning?
Oh, I don't know. There's a question within a question. Went downtown last weekend. I've never seen the like of my life.
In terms of what?
Asking you, the peddlers and that coming up to you and asking you got to smoke? Okay, well, I don't smoke. Then you say you got $5. And you walk away from these people and they keep following you. And they keep shouting, well, the words that are not to be spoken from me. It's just bloody unbelievable. The downtown area right now.
It's intimidating. And I mean, panhandlers, if you want to call them that, have been, among us since the beginning of time. But I think a lot of people are starting to notice there's a change with the aggressiveness that some people are encountering.
I used to go in 3 years ago. We used to go down to the pedestrian mall all the time. But we got that insulted, but we stopped going. And that was our Sunday thing. And now when you go in there, and all the stuff is on the go to the convention centers and all this, like you're going in to partake in. And then you come out, and it's like, because it's a job to say what it's all about. Because you never experienced that. I've been all over Canada. I've never experienced like that. I mean, confront little children and everything else. I mean, this, I don't know, it's just gone to hell in the handbasket downtown.
It's a strange a conundrum, I suppose, because what do? People wouldn't be approaching you like that if they weren't in dire need, one would think. So are their needs being met, and why aren't their needs being adequately met? The other thing is, what do you do to address it? Do you put more security guards downtown? That's a little bit intimidating as well, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Some people might find that comforting. Others might find that off-putting, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm sure downtown business owners are feeling this as well.
Well, I'd say they are. I mean, every city that I've went to, you always had foot patrols. I mean, we got RNC here, out walking the beat. And I mean, you're noticing that if you're getting harassment, well, they'll drive them away or whatever. But they know that they're there for a reason. And it's not down there.
I had an encounter myself a couple of weekends ago, walking across a parking lot, and someone approached me, asked me if I had any change. I said, "I'm sorry, I don't carry." Very few people carry money anymore, if you know what I mean. I said, "I'm sorry, I don't carry any." And he went on, and by seconds later, I realized he was behind me, and he starts screaming, and he's waving his arms, and he's swearing, and obviously it caught the attention of a security guard because he came running across the parking lot. He said, "Is he bothering you?" I said, "He's not really bothering me." But obviously the security guard saw some concern in that. But it did leave me a little shaken when I thought about it after the fact.
Well, I mean, this is what we're going through downtown. I mean, it's a beautiful place down there. But if you're going to keep letting this go, who's going down? I know I'm not. I mean, because I pity the merchants down there because they rely on me. I could be anywhere. During the Sunday, but I enjoy in there. I really do. You go down and you got guys playing downtown and everything else. And you don't mind putting a buck or two in their mug. But when you got guys doing this, now what do you do? This guy followed me. Up two intersections. I had to stop. Turn around and say, "What are you doing? Stop it!" And I keep walking. But he just kept walking with me until I went into the restaurant. I don't know. I don't know what people are thinking about when they're doing like this.
It's off-putting for certain, and I'd like to hear from others who may have either encountered it or don't get bothered by it or whatever the case may be, if you know what I'm saying. And downtown business owners in particular, I know it was an issue that came up during a recent survey of people's impressions of the pedestrian mall. Exactly, and this is why I'm going to be honest. A lot more people will go down and partake in all this. It was nice to have a venue where you go outside and eat, and you would probably hear a few people playing their music and whatnot. That's nice. But when you go down just to be faced with that, why go down? It's going to lead to altercations, and then who gets who gets thrown in jail then? Not the one that's coming after you, but the fellow that's in that altercation. And that's the fear, isn't it? That somebody will finally say, "Okay, that's enough, buddy. Back off." Exactly. There's only so much you can take. I'm going to give you one, for instance. A 5-year-old child going with her mother, going down to a restaurant to get something to eat. She was to a dance competition. Someone came out. This woman came out, and what she never said to her, she traumatized her. That little girl has smiles on her face. She lightened up the room. But after when she came back, she was quiet. She even looked at looked at one of the girls. "Can you go to the bathroom with me? I don't want to be alone." Now, what in the name of God is going on? Mac, it's ridiculous. I appreciate your call. It's something that I'm hearing more and more people observing more and more frequently, especially in and around the downtown area. Really appreciate your call this morning. I'd like to hear what others have to say. Okay, thanks, Linda. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
And, one thing that is important not to forget in this conversation as well is that these are people who are in severe need. And, we should all have compassion. But also when it comes to, that feeling of security, and not feeling intimidated and not feeling harassed, we have a right to feel that way as well, to know that you can go about your business and not feel harassed or hounded or intimidated, for that matter. So where do you draw a line? How does it get adequately addressed? It is a serious conundrum. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. And we're back on VOCM Open Line. Joanne is next in the queue. Hello, Joanne.
Hi there.
How are you?
I'm well, Linda, and thank you for taking my call. I was very curious to see the question of the day, and that's what I wanted to speak on, is the relocation of the gynecological unit to the 4th floor of the Janeway. And I felt very compelled to speak out. I am a survivor of, quite a significant event on the OBS and gynecological unit while having my baby there. So I just felt very compelled to phone in. I've been following the story for a few days and doing some digging about what is happening here, and was quite surprised when I went in to vote this morning to see that the public opinion on this is so close in regards to the voting. And I just wanted to share a little bit of my story and how this could potentially impact many women and, of course, children, adolescents in the province. And I also speak from another perspective of my children having services at the Janeway as well. I know the nurses union spoke out quite recently in regards to their concerns, and I think that the poll is so close because there's been a lack of full disclosure or transparency on the impact of moving the adult inpatient unit into the Janeway. Firstly, a lot of women, like myself, will be at very high risk. Most women that are inpatients, at the health science, they're flown in from all over the province, and they have very complex obstetric and gynecological needs. And having that unit on the 4th floor of the Janeway, further removed from the ICU, is a major concern. I hemorrhaged and had to receive 27 units of blood before I was stable enough to be transported via elevator downstairs to the surgical unit and then transported to the IC unit for a stay of over 4 or 5 days.
27 units of blood.
And that's not that unusual at the health science, and what I'm saying is that women's lives will be put at risk by this move. The ICU unit eventually will be moved into the new complex that's being built. And luckily, at any point during that night, while those nurses stayed by my side, they were constantly wondering at what point do they move me down to the OR again. And it took that long to stabilize me, and I only had to take an elevator ride down over the stairs. So can you imagine putting women that are hemorrhaging at the Janeway on the 4th floor of the gynecological unit and transporting them up Kinmount Road? It's absolutely ludicrous. So
indeed,
that's my first comment.
We don't have to look very far back in our history to see the number of women who have died for similar reasons because of a lack of services available to them at that time. We've got to a place in our medical history now where that's becoming less and less frequent, but still a danger.
Well, it's only less frequent because of the centers like the Health Science. I spent 8 weeks, I think it was, or 9 weeks with Placentia Previa there on the unit, waiting at the right time to take the baby and to protect the baby's health and mine. I was there long enough to know that women were being flown in from all over the province, Newfoundland and Labrador, to the gynecological and OBS unit. And, we have such a shortage of pediatricians and gynecological specialists and surgical specialists and obstetrics that, disjointing and moving them apart like that on an inpatient basis makes absolutely no sense. And I just wanted to make that comment. And so that's one thing. And I think this speaks to the lack of stakeholder involvement here. Like, when I looked around, like really, the pediatricians, the nursing, the specialists, the Memorial University, most of the major stakeholders that could be impacted by this decision in two ways. So that's the danger of the gynecological unit being placed there, have not been properly involved in this process. And I mean, they're the people that know. They're the people that have lived through these crises and know what a danger this is to women's health in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. And when I seen the first question, how it was worded this morning, that's going to bring me to my second point. It said an unused section of the Janeway. Well, no, that section of the Janeway is not unused. Right now, and up to 6 weeks ago, this section of the Janeway is for a very important clinic, which is the Kayak Children and Youth in Alternate Care, kids in foster homes, very complex medical, mental health and social and medical needs are being serviced within that clinic that's held on the 4th floor. So I'm not sure where this unused came from, but I do notice that it's been changed now. And
I think the word unused was one that was borrowed straight from government itself, from the House of Assembly.
Well, that would be very concerning, wouldn't it? Because right there on that 4th unit is a dedicated full-time pediatrician and a second pediatrician that is servicing a multidisciplinary trauma-informed clinic for a very vulnerable part of our population. And even displacing them for a short period of time while they search around and bump people around, will mean a disruption to that service. Then let's move one step forward that, the Janeway is our only tertiary care hospital for Newfoundland and Labrador for pediatrics. So now we're going to move an adult inpatient department into that hospital. And I realize that the Health Science and the Janeway, maybe from the public's point of view, it seems like one hospital, but it is two separate hospitals that undergo separate accreditation. And nowhere in the country right now, to my understanding, is there any adult-based services in a pediatric tertiary care hospital in Canada?
My understanding, though, is that this is based on a model or a similar type of approach, I suppose, at IWK in Halifax.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but I do know that initially that 4th floor was designated for more complex mental health day patient services for adolescents and youths. And that brings me to my last point here, is that, we're building a nice, shiny mental health new building there that houses inpatients that have day patient clinics for, mental health. And, I mean, that is absolutely stunning and wonderful. but there is still so many gaps in the type of inpatient care that we provide to children and adolescents. And again, the Janeway's inpatient mental health, eating disorder, self-harm clinics, there was designated space on that fourth floor for those programs. And, you know, to actually move something that's completely out to lunch in regards to mixing adult and inpatient and pediatric services into that space just does not make any sense and could potentially affect the accreditation of the Janeway, affect the students that we currently have at Memorial University that's part of the pediatric residency program. There's some major implications in regards to this. And I guess what's most concerning is that the public is really not aware of all these different angles to this issue. It seems simple. I think it's 11 beds or something that's looking at being moved in total, but it has a very significant effect on patients like me, on children that go to the Janeway that have severe, needs in regards to mental health. One of the big things with the Janeway is they have an inpatient unit there, but there's no day care, day patient services for mental health, and adolescents do not want to be locked up on a ward. We need these services, and that's what that designated fourth floor was actually coined for. So not only are we putting patients, women's health, families. Right now, if this came true to fruition right now, and I was admitted into that space, my children, 4 children, would be without their mother today.
Joanne, I appreciate your call this morning and for your thoughtful breakdown of the issues that are surrounding this decision or plan. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And a joint news conference that was to be held between the LLMA and the RNU on this very question that was scheduled for 12:30 today has been cancelled. We'll find out the reasons why, no doubt, in the not-too-distant future. We're up to news time now with Sarah Strickland.
The Tim Powers Show. Join the conversation weekday afternoons at 4 p.m. on your VOCM.
And we're back. The Bank of Canada is holding its interest rate steady at 2.75%, weighing inflation, of course, against the tariff war that was launched by the United States. So holding steady, 2.75%. Bank of Canada made its interest rate decision today. Your thoughts on that? You're welcome to give us a call. We're going to go now to Zita Kavanaugh-Taylor. Hello, Zita.
Hi, Linda. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I'm just calling now because I'm a multiple sclerosis support leader, and we're finally going back to in-person because with COVID, it all put us out. So we're finally getting back to our MS in-person support group. And it is tonight at 7 o'clock at St. Patrick's Mercy Home. And it goes from 7 to 9. And the group is open to anyone living with multiple sclerosis, anybody that's newly diagnosed or waiting for a diagnosis, or a caregiver, or any family member.
And are your members, looking forward to having that one-on-one or face-to-face kind of time?
Yeah, we were doing the Zoom ones for a long while when COVID hit us. But some people like the Zoom, but there's a variety of people. There's a good number of people that requested in person. And we used to always have the in-person one once a month. And but with COVID, we all had shut down. So we went through Zoom, but people were asking for in-person back. So it's myself and another member that will be facilitating the group. And I live with multiple sclerosis myself, and I hold first aid, mental health first aid. and I'm doing the support group since 2013.
Wow, amazing. So the first in-person MS support group tonight in a long time, 7 o'clock at St. Patrick's Mercy Home.
Yes, and we always say 7 to 9, just in case anybody that's coming on the Go bus need to know the ending time.
Absolutely,
right, for to be able to accommodate their schedule.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Zita, all the best with it now. MS support group this evening in person, St. Patrick's Mercy Home, 7 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
We're going now to the MHA for Grand Falls Buckens. Mr. Chris Tibbs, hello.
Thank you very much for taking my call, Linda.
Yeah, no trouble. So you raised this issue in the House of Assembly yesterday about the divided highway in Grand Falls, Windsor, and I saw that video.
Yes, I raised it yesterday, but I mean, in all reality, I've been raising it for 4 years now since we've had our multi-fatality horrific accident in 2021. And, of course, the cause of this, I'll get right into it. Grand Falls, Windsor, the divided highway running through Grand Falls, Windsor, of course, it's a 90-kilometer-hour zone. We have many off and on ramps there. There's businesses on the highway. Many drivers over the years since I've been elected have been getting confused and going wrong way on the divided highway, whether they're going eastbound in the westbound lane or westbound in the eastbound lane. It happens both ways. And again, unfortunately, it took 2 lives on us in 2021. It's happening on a weekly basis. It happened 10 days ago. It happened again this past week. And I'm getting the dash cam footage sent to me. I'm getting stories sent to me. And it's something that we need to address ASAP, or we will have another fatality. And Linda, nobody wants this on our highways anymore. So, you know, I've gone through 3 or 4 ministers from the same department over the past, since I've been elected. Nothing's been done yet. To the minister's credit today, I met with the minister this morning. I'm meeting with his department this afternoon. Again, it's definitely taken too long, but I'm hoping to get some answers today, put our heads together, come up with some ideas. I mean, I've thrown out some ideas to the government already, but we need to put our heads together, get some ideas, and get this fixed so it does not happen again. So many people, I mean, you cannot get from east to west or west to east on this island without going through Grand Falls, Windsor. And with the busy tourism season coming up, I know we're going to have lots more traffic, so I want to get that fixed ASAP.
So what are some of the solutions to that? Because I understand that part of the problem here is people exiting businesses. And of course, if you're an occasional visitor to Grand Falls, Windsor, you might not know how it works. I certainly wouldn't. So what are some of the solutions?
Well, some of the solutions right there, and this just came to the top of my head. Somebody sent me about they left Toyota, I think, which is of course on the highway, and they came out onto the highway. And for instance, if anybody is going to Toyota, maybe we need some more literature out there. Maybe we need some people to talk more from these businesses themselves. Just say, hey, you know what? Be careful when you're heading out onto the highway there. Make sure that you turn right to go east, sort of thing, or you can go down through the back and come up through town again. I've also suggested, until the problem is fixed, to reduce that speed limit from 90 kilometers an hour down to maybe 60. I mean, from when the divided highway starts in Grand Falls, Windsor, to where it ends up by the golf course, it's a 2 or 3 minute drive. I mean, to take your kilometers down from 90 kilometers an hour to 60, that could save a life. That might give you that split second to see somebody and stop. I mean, how many dash cam videos have I seen over the past few weeks where people are waving their hands and yelling and screaming and blowing their horns and flashing their lights? And my God, like, we need to come up with a better placement of our signs, maybe some flashing lights, whatever it takes. It might be an engineering infrastructure issue. Whatever it takes, we need to get it done, and we need to get it done fast. My constituents drive there. My family drives there. I'm sure your family's driven there. Everybody drives through Grand Falls, Windsor. It's been gone on for way too long now. I'm so thankful. I can knock on wood every single day that we haven't had another accident. But make no mistake, unless it's fixed soon, another accident will be imminent. Would paint on the asphalt help, like right only or whatever? It's funny you just said that. My wife said it to me the day before yesterday. She said, when they paint the lines again, can they paint those as arrows? I said, well, maybe that's another idea, right? But I'm also in tune with the fact that there can't be too much signage either, right? And I know that we can't distract drivers as well, but whatever it takes, whatever money needs to be put into this, there shouldn't be a dollar figure set on this. It should be whatever it takes to prevent this from happening again should be done. So again, like you just said, maybe the painted lines, maybe some flashing lights, wrong way, you're going the wrong way, stop. These are things that need to be thrown out there. We need these ideas, but we need this government, this Liberal government, to come up with something so it doesn't happen again. And I'm looking forward to our meeting this afternoon. I also want to just give a little shout out there to Rob Murphy. Rob Murphy is an advocate within our community, Grand Falls, Windsor, who has been on top of this since day one. I've had many conversations with Rob, and together as a community, we're going to make sure that the right plan is put into place so this does not happen again.
And as you indicated, Chris, this is an issue that's been plaguing the Grand Falls, Windsor area for a very long time. I have memories of some horrific crashes on that stretch of road over the years. Really appreciate your time today. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Linda. I just want to wish everybody out there a happy, safe Easter weekend, and I want to thank the OCM for giving this the proper attention. So more motorists knows. You know, I'm going to tell everybody right now: be careful, please. Grand Falls, Windsor is a beautiful town. Come on in, enjoy yourselves. But when you're on that highway, please, everybody, pay attention to the signs and where you're going. Really appreciate it, Chris. Thank you. Thank you. So long. All right. Bye-bye. We're going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we hope to hear from you. And we're back on VOCM Open Line, a rollicking show today. Thanks, everyone, for your contributions. And sorry for the people who've had to wait an extended period of time. It's just been that kind of show today. We're going to go now to Elaine Aylward with the St. John's Retired Citizens Group. Hello, Elaine.
Oh, good morning, Linda. I was just calling actually to...
Okay, Elaine, sorry. Your line is really, really bad. We're going to try and fix that for you, if that's okay with you. I'll put you back on hold. Yeah, Dave is already talking to her. Ellen is on the line. Hello, Ellen.
Hello. I was listening about the people driving on the highway, how dangerous it is in certain places, and I was wondering if they would put a sign probably 25 or 50 feet before you enter that dangerous place that they're talking about this morning on the line, saying how, because if you wrote something on the pavement itself, the winter time, you wouldn't see it, but if it was on the posters as you enter, at least you would see it, right?
Right. And now,
it probably would avoid a lot of accidents and people getting hurt, right?
Right. And that's true if you're driving on the highway, but once you turn off into town and you do your bit of business and you come out, you might forget.
Yeah, but they probably just should have it on the other side, too.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you can see it with the eye as you're driving the highway, not doing something on the pavement, because in the wintertime you cannot see anything on the pavement. You need it on a post, like, a white sign with red markings.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, anyway, I thought that probably would help people.
Absolutely. Ellen, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And yes, Elaine, sorry about that. Elaine, hi.
Oh, good morning, Linda.
Oh, much better, much better.
Yeah, I was calling to let your listeners know about an event that we have going on this evening at 10 Bennett Avenue at 7 p.m. It's a session on scams and frauds for seniors. And, of course, we all know that the scams are becoming more and more elaborate all the time, and new ones every day. So we invite any seniors who would like to come to this presentation to just come this evening at 7 p.m. And Leo Bonnell is the presenter. He's a seniors advocate on these issues, and is supposed to be a wonderful speaker.
It's not going away, and they're getting more and more clever all the time, aren't they, Elaine?
Indeed they are. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, and I mean now they're gleaning information from your Facebook posts and obituaries and all the rest of it to make themselves sound very convincing. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well,
so
that's
it's a good opportunity to learn how to avoid some of these things and stay on top of them. So, so we invite seniors in the community, come out tonight at 7 p.m., 10 Bennett Avenue.
7 p.m., 10 Bennett Avenue, tucked away there behind where the Grace used to be, if anyone's not familiar. And the St. John's Retired Citizens Association. Really appreciate this, Elaine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Yeah, very important issue there. We're going to go now to Bill. You're on the air. Hello, Bill.
Hello, Linda. How are you this morning?
I'm great. How are you? So sorry for the wait. I know you've been waiting there a long time, as have many other people. It's been one of those mornings.
Yeah, I was interested this morning listening to a gentleman from Ontario who he and his son apparently had planned a trip for moose hunting later on this year, but he was having second thoughts because of all the gun bans that the Liberals have been putting on, that he wouldn't have a firearm to bring. He said he wouldn't have to bring a sharp stick to go moose hunting. Okay, and then right after this, another gentleman came on, obviously a very staunch Liberal supporter, and he said that he fact-checked this with CBC and found that there was 19,000 other types of rifles that he could buy to replace the ones that were banned.
I don't know if he's a staunch Liberal supporter, but he is a journalist with The Independent, so that's why he raised that issue.
Well, here's the thing. The Liberals have been doing this for the last several years. Every time they ban a bunch of guns, they say, now you can go out and you can buy these ones. And now an average hunting rifle is anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500. So, if when they take away your old one, they don't give you any money for it. So you got to come up with the $1,000 to $2,500 yourself to replace it with a new one. And there aren't 19,000. That's ridiculous. Anyhow, the problem is I have several friends who have had this problem. Their hunting rifle has been banned, so they can't take it to hunt. So they went out and bought an unrestricted rifle that was apparently approved for hunting. And they spent their $1,000 or $2,500. And they had the thing barely set up to go hunting when the next ban comes out and bans that rifle. Now, he said this guy who came on this morning said there was no hunting rifles banned. Well, I have got to differ with him. I have some that have been banned, hunting rifles and shotguns.
So what types of hunting rifles then have been banned that you have that have been banned?
Well, shotguns. I'm not going to put the names on it because there's so many that and the names don't mean anything to most people unless you're an avid gun.
But what is it about the rifle that is considered to be
basically
under this ban?
Anything that's semi-automatic. In other words, and a semi-automatic, people try and call these assault rifles. That's ridiculous. They only hold 3 shots, or three or four shots, and they're definitely not anything that you could even think of taking into a theater of war. I mean, you'd be laughed at.
No, but would they sustain a rapid fire, like even if it's just 3 shots?
Yes, Linda, but what's that got to do with it?
But is that necessary for hunting?
It is quite often because if the moose takes off when you hit him with the first shot, you've got to get him down to kill him humanely. And so if you haven't got a rifle that can get a second shot off quickly, then the moose is gone before he's in the woods and gone, and he's probably go off and die a terrible death, or maybe not die at all and suffer for months and end up crippled or something else.
Right.
So
I'm just asking these questions honestly because I don't know. I literally don't know.
And that's the problem, that most people don't know. But I'll tell you, in Newfoundland, 20% of Newfoundland men and women, 20% are licensed firearms owners. Now, most people don't believe that. Firearms and sports in Canada are the most popular sport. More participants than those who play hockey or soccer or golf or any of these other sports. It is the highest participant level of any sport in Canada. And that's what our government is going after.
So is it?
It's worth it's a $20 billion industry in Canada.
But are the rifles? When you say sport, what are you talking about? Like target shooting, that kind of thing?
There's an awful lot of that. Yeah, target shooting, and we have some wonderful gun clubs in Newfoundland where people go and compete in the different activities.
Gotcha. Because for most people in Newfoundland, anyway, aside from the people who visit outfitters and that's more of a sport type of pursuit and not exclusively. I understand that. But for most people who go out hunting, they're doing it to fill up the deep freeze, if you know what I mean.
Well, yes, but there is the camaraderie and the sense of adventure and whatnot, and you're in the outdoors and you're enjoying yourself, and you have your friends with you, and it's a sort of a vacation, I guess, a mini vacation to go moose hunting or
a lot of people
bird hunting or duck hunting or goose hunting or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Well, very good. Well, Bill, so you took exception to some of the comments and you support the others.
Well, yes. I mean, the thing is, there's no such thing as saying that there are no rifles banned, because there are hundreds of hunting rifles banned. And the last ban they put out, it was a couple of hundred guns on it, and most of them were hunting rifles. Or shotguns.
Bill, you've had the last word on VOCM Open Line this morning. We're almost up to news time, and I have a hard stop here. So really appreciate your time this morning, and thank you for your patience.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. And Bill has had the last word on VOCM Open Line this morning. Thanks, everyone, for your contributions. Really interesting conversation. I thought so anyway. We'll be back tomorrow. Do stay tuned. Sarah Strickland, look at her there. Hey, she's up next with VOCM News. Stay tuned for that.
You're listening to the VOCM